everybody, it's John, your Indian Cine-MANIAC, with another 10-ish minute review. Okay, we're gonna go. We're gonna review episode three. Excuse me, 5 and 6 of Mirzapur. Mirzapur. I know I screwed up that first review because I did 4 episodes. So I'm only gonna do two each. Okay. So I watched Baukal. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I guess it means time period. So my question was, how are they going to solve the cop looking at the back of the truck that ended the fourth episode? And in the scene, Guddu had the gun pointed at the guy's head before he was going to pull up the back of the truck, while Bulby's inside trying to wipe away all the blood. Well, that's exactly where it started. And what happened, and things are starting to come in place as far as character, who's who. Um, the cop lifts up the back of the truck, and Bulby's in there, and he solves it with quick thinking. He says something spilled on it, and it got all on the carpets. And the guy says, "Okay, go away." And then they show Guddu putting the gun back. So right away, they're setting up for you that where Guddu, who's obviously roided up, he's been taking these pills that compounder gave him, and he's getting much more aggressive, and he's liking it a lot more. While Bulby is the brains of the operation, he thinks on his feet. Now I'm sure that's going to change if this is going the way I think it's going to go. But I like that because they didn't have to kill the cop. That because the first instinct of one brother was to kill the cop, the other one was to use your head to think about it. Then they do this scene in the apartment or their room where Guddu has his two guns out and he's talking to himself in the mirror. And I believe it was a reference to Taxi Driver. Robert, you talking to me? You talking to me? So you see where he's going in the path that he's going down. And then, so now they're trying to build up the what is it called? The fraud gun business. And they meet one of the distributors who says that because the guns have been defective, they haven't been, he hasn't been able to give him as much money. Well, the two brothers start snooping around and they find out that he's actually working with the Don in, this time I'm going to say it right, John Purr, who is, I've got my little, I don't know if you can see this, but I've got everybody's who's who, okay? So that guy, um, the Don from Gironde, is, I didn't write it down. Ratty. Ratty Shankar Shukla. So as Bulby's sitting there talking to the guy who's screwing him, business wise, Guddu gets behind him, shoots him in the back of the head. Boom. And the brother's looking, what are you doing? What are you doing? And there's a mother and young baby also in this apartment. And Bulby leaves, and then they show Guddu going into the room with the baby and the mother. And the assumption is he's going to kill the two of them, and he's got the gun out pointing. Then he comes back out, and again, this is the humor I talked about in my last recap. He made a deal with the woman because he read that to help bodybuilding, you drink mother's milk, and he promised not to kill the mother and the baby as long as she pumped breast milk that he could drink. Okay, so that's where his at. Um, Now again, they're trying to build distribution while some of the distributors aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Now, obviously, like this guy, they're working for the other guy. They're working for Roddy. Dramatic pause. So now this is where Bulby and why I think he's going to end up becoming what I call him, Bablu. Bablu. He's going to become my speculation is he's going to become a big crime guy because he's really smart, right? And he's using his brain. So he comes up with the idea to have a big feast. He goes, "We have to have a feast with all the distributors, right?" So they show the feast and they separate certain people. Magbul. separates certain groups. And you got one group in a room, and then you get the other group around the dawn in Kanda or Colleen. And the reason why they separated them was these distributors are working for the other guy. And Magpul puts Guddu in there with an Uzi and shuts the door. And I don't know, there's like 10 of them, maybe more. And he starts shooting, but nothing happens, like misfires. And Magpul sees this and keeps the door locked. So this is an initiation too, because these guys all have guns. So they pull out their guns, and now the Uzi's going. Now they cut back to Magpul, and then Guddu comes out the door, and all those guys are dead, blood everywhere. So now they're talking about the plan going forward, how it's going to work with the distributors, and this is all Bablu's plan. Okay, so you see, and the Dawn is starting to like what he's seeing. So now now it goes back to the Sweetie story, and this episode really focused on the two brothers. Okay, but they hook up with Sweetie. He buys her earrings, and he tells him he's a gangster, and she likes it. And there's a scene where he pulls out his gun and puts it right on the table at the diner with that little kid waiter, and she unloads it, pulls a clip out, pulls the one bullet that's in the chamber. I've been around guns my whole life, so she's kind of into this, and that's another theme in this show that happens at the end of the episode. Um, so now they go back to the father's house, the lawyer who is crimes going up, and he knows his sons are the reason why. And at one point, he makes a reference to the Godfather, and he actually calls them Sonny and Michael Corleone, which is exactly how I'm reading it. So I was like, okay, good reference, right? Um, so now again, he comes up, comes up with a plan. We're going to give away free guns to get them on the street shooting, not faulty guns, but guns that work to increase demand. Now he comes up with the idea we need to sell it to the bad guys, and we need to sell it to the people who want to defend themselves. So he's selling a lot more guns. And again, the Dawn likes this. He likes this. Um, and then Muna, who's not in this much, there's one scene where he's getting a little frustrated with the credit that the brothers are getting, and he's not liking it. He's with his buddies, and there's a scene with Compounder. I have a question though. Is Compounder in love with Muna? Because I'm getting that vibe, and I don't know if that's pursued in the rest of the show, but I'm definitely feeling that. And there's a scene where he starts describing why he doesn't carry a gun. Compounder, he carries a razor, straight edge razor. And there's a scene in the bathroom where some guy pees a little bit on him, and now they go house on the guy to the point that Muna. It's an awful scene. He goes. In fact, he said, "Stay still. This is my first time." That's what Muna says to this guy that they're about to kill. Compounder holds him, and it's a graphic scene. Muna puts the knife right up against his neck and slow. I mean, it's not one of those deals. Very slow, and kills the guy. And I was like, wow, crazy. Um, and Compounder, when he was describing it, he talked about the poetry of killing with a razor. It was a very creepy scene. Very creepy. Now, here's the other thing like Sweetie. The mother is starting to like the respect that her sons are getting. Guddu and Bablu. Um, and there's a scene towards the end where she says, the guy at the grocery store has been disrespecting me. Well, then Guddu goes over there and straightens him out. Now they get grocery free for life, and she loved it. The mother, where the father is the complete opposite. He wants nothing to do with this. And they also introduced a cop at the end of this, um, R.S. Moria, um, who's going to Mirzapur to figure out what's going on, and that's how it ends with the identification of that cop. So I love that. Then the next episode was Barfi, which You guys know I love that. One of my favorite Indian movies is Barfi. I don't know what the translation is. I don't know why it's called Barfi, but this was a good episode. It starts off with a sit where, um, and the lawyer, not the lawyer, the he wants to sit down with Roddy because Roddy already tried to assassinate him and his son. So they have to have a sit down to talk about it. And during the wrestling scene, there's a cool scene where Muna bets that his guy will win, and his guy is beating the other guy, and then the father has him throw it because he doesn't want to take money from the chief minister. I don't know if it's a chief minister or the person who works for the chief minister. I think that's what it is. Um, but they make a comment about he that wrestling move is just like Salman Khan, which I knew was from Sultan. So I knew what that was. I knew that reference. So there's a little power grab too. He made the son look bad in front of them. So now they cut to the cop, and the new cop is now in the police precinct where Parshura Gupta, who's a dirty cop working for the Dawn, his precinct or whatever it's called. And he sits down in this dusty office, and I don't know where his character's going, but there is he a dirty cop because at one point he asks about money, or is he just playing them? I think it's the latter, but I like his character, and I don't know what's going to happen with that. Um, but there, within that, there's a scene where Roddy goes to the bathroom, and Magpul follows him in, and says because he knows he tried to assassinate the Dawn and Muna, so he goes, he pulls out two pictures of Ratty's son, and says, anything happens to these guys, something's going to happen to him. So he's terrified of this, right? And then for the first time in this series, there's a dance number. I think her name was Zani. She does this dance number, and they're all dancing in the rain, and that causes a confrontation where the guy who, and again, oh yeah, Mr. Yadav. I'm not sure what his job position is, but he slaps Muna, and Muna pulls a gun on him, and the father says, "Muna, no, no." So it's building, right? It's definitely building. So then when Roddy and this Mr. Yadav are alone, he makes a deal with Roddy that once the election's over, we're going to overthrow Mirzapur and get a Condon out of there. So now they got a deal as long as Roddy comes up with the money, which they do. Now there's a whole family dynamic where Sweetie introduces Guddu to her father, who's the cop who didn't know they were together, but is thrilled because of how high up they're getting in the organization, and vice versa. They meet the mother, and it's a funny scene in a movie theater. There's like six of them watching a movie, and it's just them, no one else in the movie theater. So that's the kind of power the brothers are building, and the respect that they're building. Um, and then, okay, now they find out, and here's the big reveal. Because throughout this series so far, the Don keeps saying, "Look, if you increase my business in the guns, we'll get you into the carpet business, right? Because he made millions in the carpet business. Well, because especially Bulby did such a good job, he's now going to let him into the carpet business. Well, the carpet business is opium, and that's the first time that even got mentioned. In fact, in the fourth and fifth episode, when they were hauling the dead body in the carpets, they were also hauling opium, and they figure out a way to distribute. And again, the Don says if you can increase the distribution of the opium, you're going to move up and up and up. And he figures out a way using, I think, a brothel and courtesans, and I think some of them were trans too, because they definitely look like guys. Um, oh, so they bought a car. See, this is where it's happening, right? This is why I'm getting the Godfather analogy. They buy a new car, and the plate on the front says the Lions of Mirzapur. So these guys have a reputation, and it's really building, and they're becoming very successful gangsters. One's using his brawn, one's using his brain. And then the final scene of the show, which again, I love this because I love this character. So they're in R.S. Mara has like five guys in his office, and he says, "Look, People are corrupt here. We're going to have a task force, and we're going to try to lower the crime. And this is how it ends. It's great. And he goes, I want you to start with these two. And before he even flips the picture, you know who it's going to be. He shows the picture, and it's the two brothers on a motorcycle. So now they're a target. Okay, they're a target from Muna. They're a target for the cops. I'm sure they're going to be a target for Ratty sooner or later. And Magbool's got he's every time they show him with the two brothers in the dawn, he's got a skeptical look on his face. So something's going on there too. The women weren't in it that much. It was really, like I said, the brother's story and obviously the relationship between Roddy and Akondan. But I'm only doing 2 episodes a piece, so I'm doing the reviews right after I watch the 2 episodes. So it's too bad because I really want to watch the next 2 episodes. I'm not going to watch them till tomorrow. But yeah, I'm really into the show. It's really good. It's keeping my interest in it, and again, let me know if my speculation, if I'm warm in my speculation, okay? And finally, I'm starting to put together the movie list from the community poll that you guys did. And I know I mentioned this in the last show, but I am having trouble finding these. They're not available for streaming. So I'm working a couple of angles to try. If not, I'll have to have an alternate or figure something out, okay? So I hope you're enjoying these. I'm really liking the show, and I do think I'm going to watch the other show with Saif. No, Kaif. You know who I'm talking about. Not, I can't remember the name. I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm sorry. But good show, liking it. Thanks for recommending it. Looking forward to the next 2. And that's all I have. We'll talk to you very quickly with episodes 6, 7, and 8. And I think there's only 9 episodes, so I'm going to be done with this season pretty quick. So keep watching, keep hitting the comment button, and again, subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the like button, share it, recaps. Maybe people are interested in what Westerners think of this show. I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, I'm into it. I can't wait to watch the next 2. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.